Hey guys, SK here, back with another Clash Royale video, and today I have a treat for you guys. I have Manu on the channel, who is going to be at 7,645 trophies at number 23 in the entire world. And so Manu is going to be an Icebow player, as you can see. 3.6 elixir cycle Icebow with the Valkyrie is going to be his main deck, and he's going to be one of the best Icebow players in the world right now. Previous season he finished number 539, actually finished higher than me. I finished about 8,030. He finished above 8,100 trophies, so just amazing player, constantly doing well with Icebow. I believe he crossed 8,000 trophies with 2 accounts with Icebow, so just incredible stuff. And a lot of you guys have been asking for some Icebow gameplay as well, so hopefully this caters to you guys as well. And so today Manu is going to be playing one live game. And then he has shared 3 awesome replays as well against Nova Venom, a very good Xbow player, so Xbow mirror match, against Goblin Drill with Magic Archer, going to be a tricky matchup because of the Magic Archer, and finally Giant Sparky. So Manu is having some amazing replays today, and I did make a video with Betfis a couple days ago as well, where I commented over his games and replays, and actually I think it was just games, but where I commented over someone else's games, basically a top player. Manu is going to be a much better Icebow player than myself, so this is again going to be a great combination of amazing Icebow gameplay and then myself being given the opportunity to commentate over this gameplay to help you guys get a deeper insight into the plays that Manu is making, as well as the decision making and everything that goes behind becoming a good Icebow player. So really looking forward to this video. Hope you guys are as well, and we have some amazing games for you guys today, so stay tuned and let's get right into things. Alright, and Manu is getting into a match against Rey Supremo, who I've definitely heard of this player before, though I'm not entirely sure what he has. But Manu's just going to cycle a log first play. I'm going to turn the volume down a little bit because, yeah, but Tombstone comes down, which means it could be Lava Hound, Lava Tombstone. Could also be a Graveyard deck or a Skeleton King deck. Those all come to mind. We see the Valkyrie as well, which makes me think it is going to be Graveyard, maybe Splash Yard. With Valk instead of Knight. We'll see what else comes down. Baby Dragon comes down, which also kind of confirms my assumption. And Tesla by Manu, notice how he's just playing pretty passively. There's absolutely no point going for an Xbow right now whatsoever. So he's just going to choose to go for the Tesla. And Lightning actually comes down, so actually this could be a Royal Giant Lightning. It did look like a Graveyard deck from the first 3 cards, but if you have any familiarity with Graveyard at all, you'll know that there's no Lightning in a Graveyard deck, so looking like it's going to be RG then, because I guess Rey Supremo is an off-meta Royal Giant player. Kind of makes more sense. But yeah, so it is going to be an RG deck with Valk, Tombstone, Lightning. I could be wrong as well, but it does seem kind of familiar to me, so that's what I'm going to guess. And so Manu's going to be playing very passively right now, considering that he probably knows better than I do whether his opponent has RG or not. He's not going to be going for any kind of Xbows anytime soon. Probably going to go for Xbows as a punishing tool. For example, if the opponent wastes RG. And here I want to see if Manu goes for a Rocket. Okay, looks like he's not. He's going to play passively. Someone like me, I might have gone for a Rocket in that situation, but it's looking like it wasn't worth it. And Rey Supremo does bring the RG down, so Manu's just going to go for a low Tesla, Ice Wizard on top of everything to slow down. Skeletons to DPS, log back as well. And so the Tesla is alive. Let's see if we get a Tornado into the Tesla. Oh, we get a Valk instead. Okay, so great defense by Manu, denying pretty much all damage in that push. And he's doing really fine for himself, so he does have a Rocket in this deck. And looking like he's just very happy to play very passively. So Lightning comes down on the Xbow. Notice how his Xbow was placed in the anti-Lightning placement on the left side tower because his right side tower is weaker. So this is the placement you want to take note of, and he is going to take a Rocket on this Valkyrie because his win con in this matchup is going to be Rocket Cycle. It's not really going to be for an Xbow. He could go for an Xbow if he wants to punish his opponent, but he's very happy to just play passively and win with his game plan right now. So that's exactly what he's doing. Cycling a Valk in the back, and cycling a Valk early means he'll be able to get back to a second one if need be. And now he's already back to another Tesla as well. So Valkyrie does a really great job. Let's see how we're going to defend this Ewa's Baby Dragon. He's already back to another Valk. He just goes for that, and that's fine. So Rey Supremo should be back to an RG here because he did play it in the back. Defense Vexlo coming down for Manu again. Anti-Lightning to the right side tower because he doesn't want to give any lightning value. Manu's going to go for a Rocket, which is actually going to be kind of aggressive. But we'll see if he gets punished for it. Rey Supremo might bring lightning down, and he does, but lightning does not come down on the Tesla, and so Manu's actually going to be in the damage lead with 1 rocket each on both lanes, and his lead is in the right side, so Rey Supremo's probably going to switch to the left now because he doesn't want Manu to be able to log cycle him in the same lane. Yep. Let's see if Manu goes for another rocket, and he does. So take note of how he's playing these rockets. He's very confident going for rockets like these, and he actually hasn't revealed his tornado the whole game yet, which is interesting. But considering it's going to be an RG lightning deck, King Tower activation is not going to be very important since RG is kind of like a siege attacker, like very ranged. So it doesn't really matter. And Manu's going for Ice Wizard on the left. Notice how he's separating his Ice Wizard and Valk and Xbow, so Rey Supremo can't get a lightning on all. And now comes the first tornado, so this is where I believe the best use case for tornadoes is going to be. Manu is going to have to contend with this split lane push now. Let's see if we get... Okay, we don't get a rocket down, we get a Tesla, and then a tornado and everything back, and I think he is going to be back to a Valkyrie here, as he goes for one. Might also log this RG back, or tornado it again, logs it back, and hopefully RG doesn't get a second hit. It does not. But Ewiz gets 2 hits in the left, almost third hit, but very luckily doesn't get a third hit. So Rey Supremo's going to have his last chance push right now with the RG in the left, and Manu's probably going to go for an anti-lightning Tesla here. Nope, he's actually just going to tornado it back. And probably Tesla now. Yep, anti-lightning Tesla. Now you can get a rocket down in time at the very end. Very safe. The match looks very close, but the reality is that Manu was in control the entire game, actually. He knew that he had his rockets as a win condition. There was no point going for an offensive Xbow because of the opponent's deck. Now, he had a lot of easy ways to deal with the Xbow. Before we go into the matchup breakdown, let's just take a look at Manu's place in the world. That's going to be an awesome win by Manu, so wonderful, and he is going to be number 23 in the entire world right now, with Icebow, number 23, and over 7,600 trophies. So yeah, wonderful match, and that game was interesting because, again, he knew his win condition. He knew it was going to just be rocket cycle. He knew that if he went for an Xbow, the opponent had many answers. He had the RG, of course, which is just a -6 trade for Manu, would just take out the Xbow and counter push. No point going for that. He also had the Valkyrie, which is a pretty beefy tank, which would just survive for a long time and cause issues. And he also did have the Barb Barrel, which is a very good card at taking out Xbows. So even if Manu managed to outcycle the RG or go in for an Xbow, the opponent, Rey Supremo there, just was trying to remember his name, could have just gone for example, a Valk Ewiz, Valk Baby Dragon, and then Barb Barrel if needed as well. And he did also have the Lightning again, so just not many reasons to go for an offensive Xbow in that match. And that is the difference between Icebow and 3.0 Xbow sometimes. Icebow is going to be a lot more passive in some matchups, where you can rely on the rocket as a win condition. And last thing I want to point out is how Manu was taking his rocket value on the support troops in the back pretty much every time. He rocketed a Valkyrie. A lot of the time, I'm sure if he could rocket an Ewiz or a Baby Dragon in the back, he would have done the same thing. But yeah, just wonderful gameplay by Manu. Got very close in the end, but he basically had it all under control. Anti-lightning Tesla at the very end, so the opponent couldn't lightning the tower and the Tesla. And one final rocket coming down to put Manu at top 25 in the entire world. Alright, so this first match is going to be against Nova Venom, a very good Xbow cycle player. He used to play with Xbow Musketeer. Now he's switched to Archer Queen, of course, because Archer Queen's just better in every way. And as you can see, he did finish top 100 in the world last season with Xbow Archer Queen, so very talented player. I am actually friends with him as well. And we're going to see exactly how Manu handles this Xbow mirror matchup. So another useful thing I forgot to mention in the intro is that Manu has never played with Archer Queen. He's always stuck to Xbow with Ice Wizard and Classic Icebow, so very impressive. Looking like they were planning to tie, but then Venom played an E-Spirit at the bridge, so that's kind of funny, because usually when top players say good game, it means they're going to tie, but I guess Venom just wanted to play. So Venom's going to go for a Queen in the back, and Manu doesn't have Rocket in cycle, but I feel like even if he did have Rocket, he wouldn't have rocketed the Queen, because he knew that Venom had Xbow, of course, so he wouldn't have had Rocket for the Xbow. And so now he's just going to go for a Valkyrie for this Archer Queen. Venom is spamming emotes, as he usually does. Very funny and lively player. And so Manu is just going to leak here. Now he tornadoes back and gets a nice rocket on both the Xbow and the Knight. And so Manu is in a slight damage deficit. Single elixir is usually going to be pretty tricky for Icebow in this matchup because Xbow cycle can outcycle, of course. They have 2 cycle cards. Icebow only has 1 in the form of the skeletons. Xbow cycle, of course, has both the skeletons and the Electro Spirit. But Venom is going to have to contend with this Valkyrie now. I'm assuming he's just going to go skeletons, then log. Should be a pretty straightforward standard defense. And looking like he doesn't want to log with the tower, so minor mistake, or actually he just takes the Valk hit, I guess, so maybe he just didn't want to go down an elixir. But either way, Manu's going to go for defensive expo now, and I'm not actually sure why he's going for it in this placement, which is both this placement and the one that's 1 tile higher, 1 more to the middle, are both anti-fireball. So notice that placement, which is going to be anti-fireball to his right side tower, so Venom can't get fireball value on the tower that he already has more damage in. But now Venom's going to go for another queen in the bridge, and Manu's probably going to tornado it back. So, very good play you can make with Icebow against Archer Queen. You can just tornado the queen at the bridge backwards, and that is going to be a great way to shut it down. So, another fireball comes out of Venom, and this means that he's not going to have fireball in cycle for this Xbow. So maybe Manu was baiting a fireball out with that Ice Wizard, knowing that Venom would fireball the Ice Wiz, and now he can get a free defensive Xbow, just getting value. Venom has cycled back to another fireball. However, his cycle is a bit messed up as well, and so Venom is going to go for a very smart defensive Xbow, because his cycle was pretty bad. If he didn't go for that play and didn't force the rocket out, he probably would have been in a very bad spot. So Manu probably going to go for another defensive Expo. Actually goes for offensive Expo and Valk to predict both the Tesla and the Knight at the bridge. Covers both options, and Manu going for a Tesla as well. And then Queen can't go invisible right now because it's tanking for the Expo. Notice how Manu's Expo also helps out against the Queen. So Venom has quite a big damage lead in the left, but Manu has a almost full health Tesla up, and very good counter push. So Venom's going to just go for these fireballs on the tower, which does work, but it is going to put him low on elixir, and like you can see, Venom doesn't have anything in hand right now. He still has to respond to this Valk as well. So he does so with an Archer Queen. Manu is probably going to, yep, he's going to snipe it up high. Probably going to get a rocket down for this Expo, and then a log for the Queen as well. So perfect play by Manu. Then skeletons to make sure the Queen doesn't get any damage. And Manu is going to be advantaged in this matchup in triple elixir. If he can just defend, he can get a bunch of rockets down, and he'll be doing very well. Notice how he's not even taking that Electro Spirit damage, because it is going to come down to the wire at the very end here in terms of the damage, and actually lets an Ice Wiz hit come in. So just as I was saying that, Manu is going to be slightly back in it. Goes for Prediction Tesla, so Venom might go for an Expo in the other lane or defensively. Both are fine. He does so defensively, and he actually takes out the Queen as well. So that Tesla, notice how it's just sitting there, not really letting Venom make any progress in the left lane. He's kind of panicking here, kind of like stalling out, and Manu is going to start cycling rockets. So first rocket comes down, Venom is kind of panicking and leaking, and Manu's going to go for a defensive Expo right away, so that Venom is not able to go for an offensive Expo of his own. So Manu's going to try and win the Expo battle here, and Manu's Expo actually goes onto the Expo. So this is one downside of Archer Queen. When it goes invisible, the Expo will retarget. So the Queen was tanking for the Expo there, but since it went invisible there to keep the Queen alive, the Expo was able to retarget. So that is one way Expo players can take advantage of the Queen's ability. And Manu's just going to rocket this Expo here. He's totally fine with that, because he knows he can get back to a second rocket here for the left lane. And Venom is not going to be able to cycle 3 fireballs in time. So he could maybe get a second fireball down, but definitely not a third. And Manu's going to get a rocket log down for a perfect match. Venom got the other fireball down, but not the log. And Manu is BMing Venom. I'm assuming it's because he tried to tie, and Venom did just stead good game and played anyways. But either way, very nice win against Expo Cycle from Manu. And let's move on to the next match. Alright, so second match is going to be against Goblin Drill here, and this matchup looks like it might not be so bad because the Goblin Drill player, Face, doesn't have any big spells, but he does have the Magic Archer, and there is going to be no real easy way to take out the Magic Archer. from Manu's side. You know, Rocket is just a clean -2 trade. He could possibly get 2 logs down, but then he does also want answers for the Goblin Drill, and if he goes for a Valk on the Goblin Drill, that is going to leave him susceptible to a Magic Archer at the bridge. So we'll see exactly how Manu is able to deal with this up against Goblin Drill, and we are watching from Manu's side. The Venom match was from Venom's perspective, but we're back to Manu's perspective now, so probably just going to go Skeletons for the Fire Spirit, yep, as he does, and not really going to let any damage come in early on. So Goblin Drill comes down, Manu is going to go for an Ice Whiz up high, and then a Valk down low. I'm interested in why he went for the Ice Whiz. I'm assuming because he knew that his opponent had the Magic Archer here, and so he didn't want him to get a Magic Archer on the Valk early on, so maybe just a preemptive play. And really smart Tornado by Manu there, so that's something you guys are going to want to do, with Icebow. Especially with Valkyrie. It's a bit harder to do with Knight, but Valk is just a splash attacker and attacks very fast. So if they have a ranged troop such as a Magic Archer, or even maybe a Musketeer, sometimes you can Tornado it into the Valk, like Manu did just there. As you can see, the opponent went for Skeletons to try and prevent Manu from taking out the Magic Archer. He tried to block the Valk, but Tornado very smart, pulling it in, not messing around with it at all. And so Drill is already back. Opponent has a very fast cycle deck here. Manu's just going to go for a Tesla, and then probably Log as well. Yep, so flawless defense, pretty much, against the Drill. But he's going to be down Elixir now, and also I'm going to be interested to see if Manu can activate King off of this deck. He can do so with a few cards, I would say. You can Tornado the first Goblin from the Goblin Drill to your King Tower. You can also maybe get an activation off the Magic Archer if you play well. And so both players are choosing to leak now, but Manu decides to break the silence, go for an Ice Whiz in the back, and Magic Archer comes down. So Manu's going to go for an Xbow because the opponent was basically leaking. He goes for Skeletons for the Magic Archer, and now he's going to have to let the Xbow die because of the Tesla. You can't really do much against the Tesla and single Elixir without overcommitting, so Manu just leaves it go. And he goes for a Tesla at the bridge because he doesn't want to mess around with the Magic Archer again. Again, notice how I mentioned in the intro of this matchup that Magic Archer is going to be a very problematic card for Manu to deal with. So let's see if he gets the King activation here. It looks like he actually just chooses to go for a Valkyrie and fully counter. But the opponent is going to be able to go for a Magic Archer. So notice Manu's preemptive gameplay. Never letting the opponent get a Magic Archer on to the bridge and onto his tower. If the opponent went for that play there, Ice Whiz would have blocked, and so Manu just playing very safe and preemptively around the threat of the Magic Archer, which I really like. Very smart gameplay. So now we get a defensive Xbow, and this is also smart because the opponent doesn't have a big spell. Going to be a really great way to take advantage of that fact. And Manu might Rocket Cycle here, but I think he might also go for an Xbow connection. So we'll see what the plan is. He goes for a pre-Tesla there. Might Tornado this Magic Archer into the Tesla, actually. Yep, he does exactly that. So very smart play. Now he can actually go for an Xbow because Magic Archer's out of cycle. He has a huge counter push with the Valk, Ice Whiz, and the Tesla. And he's back to another Valk already. Opponent is going to be kind of scrambling here. Goes for a Magic Archer, and Xbow is on the Magic Archer, so opponent's back to another Valk. He will be able to stall this Xbow out, but Manu's going to be in a good offensive situation and has really good momentum. He can probably just go Skeletons here, cycle back to another Xbow. He's actually looking like he's actually going to go for an Xbow in the left. So swapping lanes by Manu there. Very interesting. And Xbow is on to the Magic Archer. So now here's another play you can make with the Tornado. As I was mentioning it, Manu does go for that. And so if the opponent went for a Valk in the middle, he basically would have lost the match because Manu would have retargeted the Valkyrie over to the other lane out of Xbow's range. So very smart play. Even though it didn't work out, you understand the idea behind it. And these kinds of predictions are going to be really good for Icebow in certain matchups such as this one. So Manu is looking like he's cycling back to another Xbow. Totally fine letting this Xbow go. And it still gets some damage as well, so pretty decent damage and very nice momentum by Manu here. Looks like he's going to go for a Valkyrie. He actually goes for a Tornado, which is probably smarter than the Valk because Tesla was still alive and protected for by the Valkyrie. But a Valk of Manu's coming in here, and Magic Archer is another threat at the bridge. Let's see if it comes down. It does not. Instead, it comes down low and back with a defensive Xbow. So Manu is not going super aggressive. He knows that there's a Magic Archer on the field. there wouldn't be too much of a point going for an Xbow right now. So he's just going to go with the defensive one, and now he might start rocket cycling. We'll see. He is going to have to defend against these Goblin drills here. And the opponent does also have Tornado. So he's going to go for an Xbow right here. Probably back to another Tesla as well. Ice Whiz and Log, and then actually Tornado in as well. So really nice, huge burst of damage there by Manu with the Log and Tornado. Very nice play. And now just going for a Rocket. And wow, that Rocket actually kind of predicted the Magic Archer. So very nice Rocket by Manu. And that's going to be... It would have been Xbow connection if he didn't get that Log down. But he's already back to another Xbow. And he went for another predictive Tornado. Now all he needs to do is defend this next Goblin Drill and get one Rocket on the tower. And he should be doing just fine. So Ice Whiz comes down to defend. Now he also needs to avoid any kind of Magic Archer damage on tower. And looks like the opponent, in his desperation to get a Goblin Drill on the tower, actually goes for a Goblin Drill and lets the Xbow lock on, and very smart play at the end by Manu there. Notice how he went for a preemptive Log and preemptive Tornado to pull the Magic Archer away, not let any Magic Archer damage connect to the tower whatsoever. So very smart gameplay by Manu. Even though it looks like a relatively straightforward matchup on paper, it is obviously a bit harder than that because of the Magic Archer and because of the constant pressure and quick cycle of the opponent's deck. But Manu was able to make it work with some very nice play. And so we are on to our third and final replay of the video. It is going to be Giant Sparky, which will be a welcome matchup from the other two. This should be a very easy matchup for Icebow because, of course, you just have the Rocket to easily take out the Sparky. And then you do also have the Valkyrie to deal with the Mini P.E.K.K.A, the Giant, and the Guards. You do also have the Ice Wizard, which can deal with the Bats and Minion Horde, but you do have to be careful because if the opponent's smart, he's going to try and make some non-Sparky pressure. For example, Giant, Mini P.E.K.K.A, Bats, something like that. And you're going to still have to defend, ideally without using your Rocket. But we'll see how Manu defends. Also noteworthy is that the Ice Wizard does die to the Fireball now. So opponent does have some outplay potential here. It's going to be a good matchup, but it's not going to be free because Manu's still going to have to play very well to make it work out. So we're going to see exactly how he does that into this final match against Shui from Star Alliance JP. And so Manu's playing very safe plays at the start, not even actually playing anything, just leaking for a little bit, seeing if the opponent wants to make a play. Now he goes for Sparky first play, which I guess is not too surprising. You know, Sparky first play does happen quite a bit. I don't personally approve of it, but Manu obviously had the Rocket in hand. Would have been kind of bad if he didn't have Rocket in hand, but thankfully he did, and so he's just going to get a free Rocket. And so the opponent is going to try and punish him now with a Giant Mini P.E.K.K.A at the bridge. And so Manu is going to go for a very nice Tesla, and actually let the Mini P.E.K.K.A take out the Tesla, and then he might even activate King off this Mini P.E.K.K.A, which would be very smart. Yep, very smart. Very nice gameplay by Manu. Now he has a Valkyrie for these Guards, so perfect gameplay. Takes a little bit of damage, but in the long run, very much worth it, because this activated King will be huge. And so for someone like me, I might have just gone for like a Tesla, Ice Wizard, and NATO upwards, like maybe just dealt with all the troops around the higher area of the map. But Manu, knowing that he could get an activation, being the experienced ISO player that he is, saw that opportunity and took it. So very smart play by Manu. Now he's probably just gonna go for... Okay, so I was thinking he could go for a Log and Skeletons for this Mini P.E.K.K.A, but even smarter play actually goes for an Xbow to punish this Mini P.E.K.K.A, because the opponent's only at 3 elixir. He literally has nothing in hand. He could go for a Fireball. That's not going to be good enough at all against an Xbow, just a Fireball. And Xbow will also help out against this Mini P.E.K.K.A. Plus, instead of going for a Log, he went for the Xbow, which still advanced his cycle and let him cycle back to the Skeletons next. So very, very smart gameplay by Manu overall. And let's see if the opponent goes for a Giant, for a Minion Horde, or just sacks it, actually. He's actually going to go for a Sparky. So none of the above. Just going to go for a Sparky. And so I think Manu's just going to go for an Ice Wizard on the Sparky, and then log it back as well. So slowed Sparky. Very smart play by Manu, actually, because he didn't go for Ice Wizard right on top, because it just would have died to the Sparky. The slow of the Ice Wizard spawn effect is pretty short-lived and pretty... not long lasting at all. So Manu chose to slow it down from a distance, log it back to keep the slow effect on it, and just playing very smart right now. Playing very well. has a really nice damage lead. And so now Giant at the bridge bats, knowing that Ice was out of cycle, Manu can just go for a Tornado. And now Minion Horde at the bridge punishing the Tornado, but Manu can just pull it into the middle with Skeletons. Has an Ice Wiz as well, and again, this is where activated King is huge. If King wasn't activated, Ice Wiz might have died there, but it is going to be alive, and actually he might be able to counter push with it now. Yes, he is. So he counter pushes, and opponent goes for guards, cycling back to his Giant. He's actually going to have a Sparky down. So Manu is going for a Tesla at the bridge, and actually tornadoing the Sparky back. And that's actually going to be a really nice play, because it seemed aggressive to me, but he's going to go tornado the Sparky back and get a connection. Very smart play by Manu here, knowing that the opponent had Zap in hand, knowing that if he just went for Skeletons on the mini P.E.K.K.A, they would have just gotten zapped away. So he goes for Valk first, not Skeletons first, but Valk first, completely negating the Zap, keeping Skeletons in hand, and getting a very nice connection. Now the opponent just gives up, has nothing to do against Manu's amazing gameplay right now. And again, very good matchup for Manu, but he still defended almost perfectly, still played very well. And regardless of the matchup, you can't discount that. So just going to go for an Xbow here, take out the second tower, and just very nice gameplay overall to win this Giant Sparky match. And I believe, I don't know if this was the match or if the Venom match was the one that put Manu in the top 30, 7,600 trophies, but either way, very nice gameplay, very smart gameplay by Manu here. And that is going to be a great win and a great final match to close out the video. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Collaborating with Manu here, very talented Icebow player. Now he's moved up one rank from 23 to 24, but he played top 30 live in our video, and just very nice video, very kind of him to make this lovely clan name. Lots of love to Manu, very talented player. I will link all of his stats in the description below, with his Twitter account, with his Royale API profile, and feel free to show him some support if you are interested in following a great Icebow player. But yeah, thank you very much to Manu again for coming on and sharing this amazing Icebow gameplay. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it as well, since Icebow has been pretty highly requested, and I will probably play it myself sometime as well. But I'm not the best Icebow player. Manu is, of course, way better than me and amazing. And so another collaboration here on the channel with some voice analysis over a very good Xbow player's gameplay. So thank you guys very much for watching. Let me know if you enjoyed it in the comments below. Take care, hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one.